Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Taprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Rottama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. 326.3. Anadiratma Purusho Niguna Prakrite Paraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishwam Yena Samanvitam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Super Soul and he has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. Is perceivable everywhere because he is self-effulgent, and by his self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. The self-effulgent luster is the Brahmajyoti. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as being without beginning. He is Purusha, the Supreme Spirit. Purusha means person. When we think of a person in our present experience, the person has a beginning. This means that he has taken birth and that there is a history from the beginning of his life. But the Lord is particularly mentioned here as Anadi, beginningless. If we examine all persons, we will find that everyone has a beginning. But when we approach a person who has no beginning, he is the Supreme Person. That is the definition given in Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Supreme Person of Godhead is Krishna, the Supreme Controller. Anadir Adir Govinda. He is without beginning and he is the beginning of everything. This definition is shown in all Vedic literatures. This one we have to remember always. Prabhupada used to emphasize this a lot in his lectures also. Purusha, Purusha. Why Purusha? Because when we are serving Krishna, we have to remember that he is a person. His eternal age is Kaishora, around 14. So he is a boy of that age eternally. And when we are serving him, we have to have this consciousness. Um, for example, the other day, you were celebrating for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, and we are offering bhoga. Right now, process of offering bhoga, we take some plates or donna or whatever and start putting whatever bhoga items into that. So then we have to think, okay, Krishna is a person. Now I got this donna from the shop. If suppose I am going to eat from this donna, will I eat it without cleaning? Or if I am giving it to somebody, will I give the donna without cleaning? No. So I will first clean, wash it, whatever, and then put the eatables in it. That's all. A simple thing. He's a person. Uh, we get grapes, sapota, etc. from the shop, and we directly offer to Krishna. We don't even wash it. Will we do that ourselves? No. So it's very simple. To serve Krishna with love, first thing is we have to see that he's a person. And we have to serve in that mood that he's a person. It's not that I just get something from the market and just put it in front of him saying, Krishna, take it. Anyway, you are so powerful, that no contamination will affect you. So take it. No, that's not a sign of Krishna consciousness. It's not a sign of being conscious about Krishna as a person. Mm. So always, and even when we are doing anything, flowers, bhoga, um, all activities, they have to be the top class. We have to offer the best to the Supreme Person. If we are cooking, we should cook with ghee, if possible. When we are offering bhoga, not for ourselves, we can eat whatever. Mm, in, for his pleasure, we should try, if possible, financially, if it allows, cook in ghee. Prabhupada always said oil is for external application, ghee is for internal consumption. Anyway, so the point is he's a person, and this person we have to always remember. We have to always remember. So we should try to do it very nicely. The Lord is described as a soul or spirit. What is the definition of spirit? Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. His greatness is perceived everywhere. And what is that greatness? Consciousness. We have personal experience of consciousness, for it is spread all over the body. In every hair follicle of our body, we can feel consciousness. This is individual consciousness. Similarly, there is super consciousness. Okay, so this is important. It's not normally this is not how Prabhupada defines, but it's just a new thing to focus. Spirit is definition of spirit. Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. So his greatness is spread, perceived everywhere. That is the meaning of Brahman. Great, and his greatness is perceived everywhere. And what is this greatness? Consciousness. So there is Brahman and there is Parabrahman. So Brahman is um, consciousness is present everywhere in the body. Parabrahman is super consciousness. Consciousness present all over creation. The example can be given of a small light and the sunlight. The sunlight is perceived everywhere, even within the room or in the sky, but the small light is experienced within a specific limit. Similarly, our consciousness is perceived within the limit of our particular body, but the super consciousness or the existence of God is perceived everywhere. He is present everywhere by his energy. It is stated in the Vishnu Purana that whatever we find anywhere and everywhere is the distribution of the energy of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also it is confirmed that the Lord is all pervading and exists everywhere by his two kinds of energy, one spiritual and other material. Both the spiritual and material energies are spread everywhere, and that is the proof of the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The existence of consciousness everywhere is not temporary, it is without beginning, and because it is without beginning, it is also without end. The theory that consciousness develops at a certain stage of material combination is not accepted herein. For the consciousness which exists everywhere is said to be without beginning. A materialistic or atheistic theory stating that there is no soul, that there is no God, and that consciousness is the result of a combination of matter is not acceptable. So, this is the atheistic theory. Matter is not beginningless, it has a beginning. As a material body has a beginning, the universal body it does also. And as our material body has begun on the basis of our soul, the entire gigantic universal body has begun on the basis of the Supreme Soul. Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadhya Asya. This entire material exhibition, its creation, growth, maintenance, and its distribution, is an emanation from the Supreme Person. Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says, I am the beginning, the source of birth of everything. Okay, it's all straightforward tattva. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask. It's just facts. I mean, we have to just know these facts. Okay. Matter is not beginningless, it has beginning, consciousness, super consciousness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described here. He is not a temporary person, nor does he have a beginning. He is without a cause and he is the cause of all causes. Para means transcendental, beyond the creative energy. The Lord is the creator of the creative energy. We can see that there is a creative energy in the material world, but he is not under this energy. He is Prakriti Paraha, beyond this energy. He is not subjected to the threefold miseries created by the material energy because he is beyond it. The modes of material nature do not touch him. It is explained here, Swayam Jyoti. He is light himself. We've experienced in the material world of one light being a reflection of another, just as moonlight is a reflection of sunlight. Sunlight is also the reflection of the Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, the Brahma Jyoti is a reflection of the body of the Supreme Lord. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Yasya Prabha Prabhavataha. The Brahma Jyoti is due to his bodily luster. Therefore, it is said here, Swayam Jyoti, he himself is light. His light is distributed in different ways as the Brahma Jyoti, as sunlight, as moonlight. Bhagavad Gita confirms that in spiritual world there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or electricity. Tat bhaseto bhasete suryo na shashanko na bhavakaha. The Upanishads also confirm this because the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sufficient to illuminate the spiritual world. There is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or any other light or electricity. This self-illumination also contradicts the theory that the spirit soul or spiritual consciousness develops at a certain point in material combination. And the term Swayam Jyoti indicates that there is no tinge of anything material or any material reaction. It is confirmed here that the concept of the Lord's all-pervasiveness is due to his illumination everywhere. So Lord is all-pervasive means he is there, he illuminates everything, everywhere. We experience that the sun is situated in one place, but the sunlight is diffused all around for millions and millions of miles. That is our practical experience. Similarly, although the Supreme Light is situated in his personal abode, Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, his light is diffused not only in the spiritual world, but beyond that. In the material world also, that light is reflected by the sun globe, and the sunlight is reflected by the moon globe. Because although he is situated in his own abode, his light is distributed all over the spiritual and material worlds. The Brahma Samhita confirms this. Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhutaha. He is living in Goloka, but still he is present all over the creation. He is the super soul of everything, the Supreme Person of Godhead, and he has innumerable transcendental qualities. Also concluded that although he is undoubtedly a person, he is not a Purusha of this material world. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand that beyond this material world there can be a person. Therefore, they are impersonalists. But it is explained very nicely here that the personality of Godhead is beyond material existence. It's pretty straightforward. He is super soul, he has no beginning, is transcendental to the modes, beyond the existence of this material world, perceivable everywhere through his illumination, and by self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. स एष प्रकृतिं सूक्ष्मां दैवीं गुणमयीं विभो यदृच्छयैवोपगताम् अध्यपद्यत लीलया. As his pastime, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest of the great, accepted the subtle material energy which is invested with three modes of material nature and which is related to with Vishnu. In this verse, the word Gunamayim is very significant. Daivim means energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Gunamayim means invested with the three modes of material nature. When the material energy of the Supreme Lord appears, this Gunamayim energy acts as a manifestation of the energies of the three modes. It acts as a covering. Hmm. Energy of the Supreme Person of God, Gunamayim means invested with the three modes of material nature. When the material energy appears, The Gunamayim energy acts as a manifestation of the energies of the three modes. It acts as a covering. Mm. So this is the Hiranmayana Patrena. Gunamayim energy acts as a manifestation of the energies of the three modes and it acts as a covering. Hiranmayana Patrena Satyasyapi Hitamukam. Tattvam Pushana Bhavano Satya Dharmaya Dushtaya. The energy emanated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests in two ways. As an emanation from the Supreme Lord and as a covering of the Lord's face. So this covering is this Gunamayim energy. It acts as a covering. It also manifests as the three modes. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that because the whole world is illusioned by the three modes, the common conditioned soul, being covered by such energy, cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this has two functions. The Gunamayim, meaning full of guna, full of the comprising of the three modes. One is it illusions. It creates an illusion and thereby covers the Supreme Lord. It's like a cloud. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying this. The example of a cloud is very nicely given. All of a sudden, there may appear a big cloud in the sky. The cloud is perceived in two ways. To the sun, the cloud is a creation of its energy. But to the ordinary man in the conditioned state, it is a covering to the eyes. So this external energy, Gunamayim energy, is a creation, is coming from the Lord and it covers the eyes of the conditioned soul so that he cannot see the Lord. It cannot cover the Lord. It covers the eyes of the conditioned soul so that he cannot see the Lord. So it's an illusion. It creates an illusion. Because of the cloud, the sun cannot be seen. It is not that the sun is actually covered by the cloud. Supreme Lord is not covered by Maya. Only the vision of the ordinary being is covered. Similarly, all the Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord, who is beyond Maya. The material energy covers the ordinary living entity's vision. Those conditioned souls who are covered are individual living entities, and he from whose energy Maya is created, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the energy comes from him. It manifests as three modes. It creates illusion to the conditioned living entity and covers his vision so that he cannot see the Supreme Lord. And this whole arrangement is required because if we see the Supreme Lord, then we cannot try to enjoy. We cannot try to become the Lord uh, of this material world, and that's what we have come here for. So this material energy is doing two things. One is I'm comprising of three modes. It creates an illusion, bewilders the jiva by these three modes, and thereby covers his vision so that he cannot see the Supreme Lord, so that he can um, like completely focus on trying to enjoy this material world, which is why he has come here. And that is why this covering of this Maya, it's called Maya, illusion, is very difficult to overcome, right? Because it actually covers our vision and it gives us this facility to enjoy independent of Krishna, which is what we want. Which is why even after coming to bhakti, we tend to try and enjoy independent of Krishna because that is our conditioned state. Because we are powerless in front of Maya. But bhakti is more powerful than Maya. So we have to just put bhakti in front, which means that when we engage in bhakti seriously, then the Maya becomes weak. So I also put one more message in the group. I was reading Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Then he says that even as a side effect of secondary result of bhakti, one gets to enjoy the different sense objects. as a secondary effect of bhakti, which means that as we do bhakti, we also get a facility to enjoy. Uh, mm, but then a devotee, a sincere devotee says, oh, no, 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 I'm getting stuck. I'm getting stuck here. And he becomes afraid of that enjoyment. And when he becomes afraid of that enjoyment, then his desire to enjoy matter subsides. Mm. So even as a secondary effect of bhakti, there is Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita also writes, when one engages in spiritual life, his material life also straightens out, it becomes material life. Also, generally, I mean, when devotees start bhakti, their material life generally becomes more comfortable. Hmm. Now, sincere souls will then say, no, 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 I'm getting stuck here. I'm getting stuck in this enjoyment again. So when they start fearing this enjoyment, then they are getting out of the clutches of Maya. If they don't fear enjoyment, then this Maya continues to influence the jiva conditioned state. Mm. So then he'll still want to continue to enjoy. So that is why it is very difficult, even being in bhakti, to see this that we are actually still in the whole in the grips of Maya. So that is why we have to hear. When we hear, we understand. Oh, I'm getting sense enjoyment, but I'm not supposed to enjoy this, right? So I'm doing bhakti. Then I say, oh, I'm doing bhakti, uh, and I'm getting all this sense enjoyment. Maybe Krishna wants me to enjoy. Illusion. Right? This is what Maya does. Because it's not based on Shastra. It's a mental speculation. Mm. So this is this Gunamayim energy. It covers. It covers our vision of the Supreme Lord. It covers our pure consciousness by creating this impure consciousness of wanting to enjoy independent of Krishna. And this holds us in this material world. That is why we have to do Shravanam and catch hold of uh, devotees so that they can pull us out of this illusion. And bhakti actually has the power, but because we don't want to come out, we are not able to come out. So that is this Maya, very, very powerful. That is why Krishna says, um, Maya duratyaya, very difficult to overcome. But mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Prapadyante. We have to surrender to Krishna. Only then this is possible. Otherwise, this Maya is so powerful. In another place in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, 7th chapter, it is stated that Vyasadeva, by spiritual vision, saw the Supreme Lord and the material energy standing behind him. This indicates that material energy cannot cover the Lord, just as darkness cannot cover the sun. Darkness can cover a jurisdiction which is very insignificant in comparison to that of the sun. Darkness can cover a small cave, but not the open sky. Similarly, the covering capacity of the material energy is limited and cannot act on the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Vibhu. As the appearance of a cloud is accepted by the sun, so the appearance of material energy at a certain interval is accepted by the Lord. And so here in the verse it says he accepts. Yeah, accepts. Yeah, okay. Because it's required now for material creation, so I'm accepting it. It's a temporary thing. And anyway, without Lord accepting that energy, material creation cannot happen. So he has to accept, and he's anyway above that. So there's no issue. Mm. Um, it's accepted. Although his material energy is utilized to create the material world, this does not mean that he is covered by that energy. Those who are covered by the material energy are called conditioned souls. The Lord accepts the material energy for his material pastimes in creation, maintenance, dissolution. But the conditioned soul is covered. He cannot understand that beyond this material energy there is Supreme Person of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes. Just as a less intelligent person cannot understand that beyond the covering of the clouds there is bright sunshine. Mm. So yeah, so person who is not in bhakti, who has not come to Prabhupada's books, he cannot understand all this. I mean, we are reading all this, and for us it is English, right? But for somebody who is new or who is not in Krishna consciousness, this is all like Greek and Latin. They just can't understand any of this. What is this material energy? Who's conditioned? How is it covering us? Where is the Supreme Lord? How is He the cause of all causes? Nothing they can understand, right? So that is why we have to preach. We have to enable people to actually understand this truth. And also, we should also understand saying that if I'm in Krishna bhakti, but still connected to material things, that means that that illusory hold is still strong. So I have to somehow shake out of it. I have to come out of it. So we have to put some effort so that we can come out of it. Okay, we'll read one more. गुणैर्विचित्राः सजतीं स्वरूपः प्रकृतिं प्रजाः विलोक्य मुमुहे सद्यः स इह गुहया. Divided into varieties by her threefold modes, material nature creates the forms of the living entities, and the living entities, seeing this, are illusioned by the knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. That illusion. Material energy has the power to cover knowledge, but this covering cannot be applied to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is applicable only to the prajaha, or those who are born with material bodies, the conditioned souls. So the knowledge of the conditioned souls can be covered by Maya. Hmm. The different kinds of living entities vary according to the modes of material nature. This we already know. Bhagavad Gita, it is very nicely explained that although the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance are born of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is not subject to them. In other words, the energy emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot act on him. It acts on the conditioned souls who are covered by the material energy. The Lord is the father of the living entities because he impregnates material energy with the conditioned souls. Therefore, conditioned souls get bodies created by material energy, whereas the father of the living entities is aloof from the three modes. So Prabhupada is just highlighting that Supreme Lord is not covered by Maya because of this Mayavadi philosophy that I am Brahman, but I'm just in illusion. So every opportunity he gets, he just beats that philosophy down. So Krishna is not covered by material energy, and we have acquired different bodies based on the modes in which we were born, mm, or by which we were influenced. So according to that, we have got a certain body. That body is under the control of certain modes. Mm. Um, it is stated in the previous verse that the material energy was accepted by the Supreme Person of Godhead in order that he might exhibit pastimes for the living entities. Exhibit pastimes of creation, maintenance, destruction. For whom? For the living entities who wanted to enjoy and lord it over material energy. This world was created through the material energy of the Lord for the so-called enjoyment of such living entities. Why this material world was created for the sufferings of the conditioned souls is a very intricate question. There's a hint in the previous words in the word Leelaya, which means for the pastimes of the Lord. The Lord wants to rectify the enjoying temperament of the conditioned souls. This is his Leela. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is the enjoyer but the Supreme Person of Godhead. This material energy is therefore created for anyone who pretends to enjoy. An example can be cited here that there is no necessity for the government's creation of a separate police department. But because it is a fact that some of the citizens will not accept the state laws, a department to deal with criminals is necessary. There is no necessity, but at the same time there is necessity. Similarly, there is no necessity to create this material world for the sufferings of the conditioned souls. But at the same time, there are certain living entities known as Nitya Bhatta who are eternally conditioned. So Prabhupada is saying this material world is created for sufferings of the conditioned soul, not for enjoyment. And that is why it is called Dukhalayam. Because it's punishment. We are here to get punished for forgetting Krishna. And then we come to bhakti and we are practicing bhakti and we are still trying to get material happiness. Mm. When the whole process is suffering and rectification, and the process of bhakti is supposed to give that rectification faster, instead of wanting to take the cure, we want to continue the diseased condition even after coming to bhakti. Such a illusion. Mm. It's very difficult, very, very difficult. That is why in every moment we have to keep realizing, saying, why am I trying to become comfortable in this material world? Uh, it's not supposed to be, the intent of the creation is not supposed to be that. Mm. And that is why we've been suffering, and that is how we came into bhakti. And now, after coming to bhakti, again I'm trying to enjoy this material world. Craziness. We say that they have been conditioned from time immemorial because no one can trace out when the living entity, the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, became rebellious against the supremacy of the Lord. So we've all rebelled and we are come here for rectification. We should remember. Mm. Every day, morning I introspect and I think, this is another. I'm still trying to enjoy. Oh, here is another instance of enjoyment. There is another instance of enjoyment. Mm. So it's deeply rooted, deeply rooted. So we have to be conscious that there's no question of material enjoyment. Mm. Eh, It's just another phase of suffering. That's all. It's one phase of suffering. And subsequently, suffering will manifest. Mm. And for devotees, if you are satisfied with the material happiness that we get as a side effect of or secondary effect of bhakti, and then we just it's like that Chintamani gem that is thrown in a dustbin, and we've got bhakti and we've thrown it into a dustbin. Because dustbin is material happiness. Mm, So we have to be careful. Okay, we can. Bhagavatam also says one can have a comfortable life, no problem. Mm, Sufficient food, clothing, place to stay, basic necessities, basic self-preservation. Absolutely. Right, but we should not work beyond, endeavor beyond that. Because if we keep endeavoring on this material platform, that means that we are getting going to have less and less time for bhakti, which means that continuing the stint of punishment or continuing to remain in the hospital. What is the point if you are admitted in the hospital and the doctor says, you are this problem, don't eat this, we are giving you medicine. And then we are in the hospital and we are not able to control and we are eating this, we are doing that, we are doing everything that the doctor has said no. What is the result? One is we're going to continue to remain in the hospital. Second is our suffering is going to increase, isn't it? Mm. So it's just we have to just be conscious about this that we are not here for enjoyment. It is a fact that there are two classes of men: those who are obedient to the laws of Supreme Lord and those who are atheists or agnostics, who do not accept the existence of God and who want to create their own laws. They want to establish that everyone can create his own laws, or his own religious path. Without tracing out the beginning of the existence of the two classes, we can take it for granted that some of the living entities revolted against the laws of the Lord. Such entities are called conditioned souls, for they are conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Therefore, the words Gunair Vichitraha are used here. In the material world, there are 84 lakh species. As spirit souls, they are all transcendental to this material world. Why then do they exhibit themselves in different stages of life? The answer is given here. They are under the spells of the three modes of material nature. Because they were created by the material energy, their bodies are made of material elements, covered by material body. The spiritual identity is lost. Covered by the material body, spiritual identity is lost. And therefore, the word mumuhe is used here, indicating that they've forgotten their own spiritual identity. This forgetfulness is present in the jivas who are conditioned, being subject to be covered by the energy of the material nature. Gnana guhaya, guhaya is another word. Guha means covering. Because the knowledge of the minute conditioned souls is covered, they're exhibited in so many species of life. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter. The living entities are illusioned by the material energy. The Vedas also it is stated that the eternal living entities are covered by the different modes and that they are tricolored, red, white, and blue. Red is the representation of passion, white goodness, and blue ignorance. These modes of material nature belong to the material energy, and therefore the living entities under these different modes have different kinds of material bodies. Because they are forgetful of their spiritual identities, they think the material bodies to be themselves. This is the cause for Mithya Ahankara and all the suffering that we are going through. Even the experience of suffering is because of this. The conditioned soul, me, means the material body. This is called moha or bewilderment. It is repeatedly said in the Katha Upanishad that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never affected by the influence of material nature. It is rather the conditioned souls or the minute, infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme who are affected by the influence of material nature and who appear in different bodies under the material. So the important point here to remember is that this material world is created for the sufferings of the conditioned soul. This we have to remember all the time. So there's no question of trying to enjoy this material world. And we are trying to enjoy because of this knowledge covering feature of the illusory energy. Jnana guhaya. So our knowledge is covered by illusion. And the more we engage in illusion, the more the knowledge will remain covered. So we'll never be able to come out. So if we have little knowledge of how to escape, we have to somehow just latch on to the process, right? Little opening is there. We have to hold on and just somehow get out. Because otherwise this covering is so powerful that we'll again forget and we'll continue to try and enjoy. Okay, so with that we'll stop here. Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Prabhuji, we are like marginal energy. And when we realize that we have to get out, then again also, why is it so difficult to overcome an inferior energy like this is the other Maya is inferior to us, the Prabhu. Then why also it's so difficult? And there's another doubt I had, Prabhu, in the demigods, and they necessarily not be bhaktas, no? They can even go there by good karmas also, isn't it, Prabhu? In the Swargaloka?
Swargaloka, they can go by good karma, but they can't become demigods.
They have to be bhaktas.
Yeah, demigods means they are powerful entities. In Swarga, there are powerful demigods and there are Samanya Swargavasis, right? Normal residents of Swarga. Normal residents of Swarga are because of Punya.
Okay.
Right? But the demigods who are actually in power, they have to be bhaktas. Otherwise, they are not given this position.
And even
See,
they get
bhakta,
bewildered.
see, like this, for example, Brahma, it said that Brahma is one who has lived for pure life for 100 varnashramas, right? Now, following varnashrama dharma also implicitly one becomes a devotee, right? So, but he is Mishra and he's not doing like direct devotional service, yeah, right? But people who do direct devotional service with also, um, material desires also end up going to Swarga. But the demigods traditionally, they are more of people who are very strictly followed Varnashrama.
So they necessarily not be Krishna conscious. It's like if you're in a jail and your good
No,
behavior or something.
somebody who has followed Varnashrama is Krishna conscious.
Okay.
Right? But they are not conscious as in they don't have like that. See, they don't love Krishna to serve him. They know that Krishna is the source of everything. He is the most powerful. Which is why if you see in Bhagavatam, every time there is a situation, the demigods start praying, please protect us, please protect us. This is their understanding, saying that, he is the Supreme Lord, he is all powerful, and we just take shelter of him. They have surrendered to the Supreme Lord, knowing that he is supreme, but they don't have any love to serve him as devotees are trying to do. Right?
So
So
even they have a
they are
downfall.
Mishra. Oh
They
yeah, they come back. No, I mean,
okay, they come
if
back.
they come back, as in, if they do mistakes, they'll come back. If their punya is over, they'll come back. Unless they pursue bhakti and move forward, they'll come back.
But when then again and again, like they keep surrendering to the Lord, they keep going to the Lord, then why should there be a downfall? They're still doing their
Free
duties there,
will,
na?
free will, this free
Free.
will is there everywhere.
Oh.
That is why we have to give up. See, that is why we have to remember this whole process of, initiation is about giving up this free will. right? Latching onto superior will, which is not going to be destructive, not going to make us fall down, right? Because our free will has high tendency of making us fall down. And that remains even in Swarga, and that is the reason why we don't want to go to Swarga, right? Because the same illusion is even more heightened in Swarga, right? Because so much of enjoyment and what we were hankering for in this material world is available. So we might just get stuck there and just misuse our free will, saying, okay, let me get more enjoyment. So
Well,
the first
yes.
question regarding, we are tatastha. See, the fact that we are tatastha means, again, it comes back to the same thing, right? The how are we remaining tatastha? Because of that desire to enjoy independent of Krishna. Till that desire to remain independent of Krishna remains, we cannot overcome material energy, because material energy is meant for that enjoyment. So become friends with her. If you have to enjoy independent of Krishna, we have to remain friends with material energy. We can't fight her. So we can't overcome her.
No, even after knowing that, like why do devotees also find it so difficult to overcome
Because
her?
we still have the desire.
Okay.
We still have the desire to enjoy. See, the desire has to go. The desire will go only when we develop that higher taste and we develop a desire to achieve Krishna. Right? If that desire to, it's a very simple thing, Mataji. There are two things, right? One is desire for material enjoyment, the other is desire for Krishna. Which one is more powerful will decide. That's all. The desire to achieve Krishna is more powerful, then automatically the desire to enjoy material world decreases. But the desire is the manifestation of our free will, and that free will has to turn after Shravanam. After hearing, we have to understand, saying that first is okay. See, Gnana. Gnana is telling, okay, don't try to enjoy material world, but we don't have the strength to overcome it, right? And then we are succumbing, because we are conditioned. See, at this point in time, we should understand, even though we have got knowledge, but I am not powerful enough to overcome it because of my conditioning, right? And that is why Krishna is saying in third chapter, saying that you need spiritual strength to overcome this. So we don't have the spiritual strength. When we don't have the spiritual strength, we succumb to this material energy. So what is required is actually this desire to achieve Krishna should become so strong that it will push us, very deep into our bhakti, practice of bhakti. And by that pushing, what happens? We achieve two things. One is we achieve spiritual strength, uh, and we also achieve mercy of Krishna, by which then we can slowly get over this desire to enjoy. And what Krishna does, Krishna does also one very merciful thing to those devotees who want to escape. He manifests some kind of suffering in their life, right? So that there is no comfort. So in that uncomfortable situation, mm, hope is that we will turn towards him, right? So somehow the pulling has to happen, pulling out, because we don't have the strength to pull ourselves out. So if the desire to achieve Krishna becomes very, very strong, then it becomes very easy. For such devotees, it becomes very easy. That is why a lot of my emphasis is to get attracted to Krishna, to hear about Krishna, to go to Dham, to get attracted to Radha Madhav, to get attracted to Jagannath, whatever it is, right? So we have to get attracted to Krishna somehow. If you get attracted to Krishna somehow, then automatically this desire to achieve him will become so strong that this attraction towards this material energy just dwindles. But if you're not attracted to Krishna, that is when we have a big challenge. Then we are just in the, yeah, that is dangerous position. So knowledge alone is not sufficient. Knowledge alone is not sufficient, because it's like this, like for example, if say there's an anchor that they put on a ship or boat, whatever, right? It's tied to my leg, and yeah, I know that I'm tied, but do I have the strength to pull myself out?
No.
I don't have the strength, right? So then somebody has to come and pull me, right? So that whole pulling process is bhakti, devotees, our own desire to to escape, right? If I'm tired and then I'm saying I want to escape, I want to escape, and I'm not doing anything about it, then what is the use? I'm going to remain tied. So knowledge alone is not enough, right? Knowledge has to be followed by action.
So, Prabhu, like when you do your prescribed duties in the Varnashrama, it leads you up to Swargaloka, right? And the Lord becomes a part of the prescribed duties.
Yeah, yeah. So there are also devotees who follow Varnashrama and come to the worship of Vishnu, and they get connected to bhakti. But there are also devotees who don't want to get connected to bhakti, who they come in contact with Vishnu and say, I want to just enjoy. Right. So I've done everything Vishnu has required. So give me Swarga. Right. So that also is the individual free will, right? What they want. And Varnashrama enables both. Varnashrama enables one to go to Swarga by doing Karma Kanda. Varnashrama also enables one to go to Vishnu with Upasana and then eventually come to Bhakti also.
And I mean, you said, uh, yeah, Brahmaji, he's been in, like so many celestial years, he's been in the Varnashrama, and that is how he's got into
100
bhakti.
lifetimes. A
And so
Jiva, a Jiva who
that
is perfectly lived 100 Varnashramas, probably as a
100 Varnash,
Brahma.
and
Yeah.
that is how he's achieved Lord
Yeah.
Krishna,
That's how
right?
that's how no. That's how he got promoted to Brahma,
That's
position of
okay.
Brahma.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a Jiva who lives
And
100,
generally it is said that person who achieves that Brahma post is also a devotee.
okay,
Generally it is said. But there are also cases where somebody becomes Brahma and is not a devotee, and then he falls down.
okay.
So, but otherwise, a devotee who has lived a perfect Varnashrama life for 100 years goes to Brahmaloka, and from there he goes to Krishna.
In one lifetime only, Prabhu, 100
Yeah,
years?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. No, 100 lifetimes.
100
So
lifetimes.
in
Okay, sorry.
100 Manushya Janmas, he has taken 100 human lives and perfectly followed Varnashrama. And
Okay.
then he also has become a devotee. And then if that devotee, uh, Brahma, I mean, person qualified
Devotee.
and is a devotee becomes Brahma, then at the end of his life, he goes back to, at the end of his 100 years as Brahma, he goes back to Krishna, he goes back to Vaikuntha, whether he is going to Vishnu or Krishna, that's up to him. Um,
Yeah.
right. But also somebody can get elevated to this without being a devotee. Very rare, but if that happens, then he does wrong things and he falls down. Like for example, one instance where Brahma runs behind his daughter, right? Things like this can potentially happen, and then he falls down and he comes down, right? He doesn't go up, so that's also possible.
So Varnashrama and prescribed duties are very, very, very strong. They can
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
promoting you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, which is why
Like even
previously it was the basis, right? Prabhupada, right, saying it is the foundation of cultured human society, Varnashrama, because it's like somewhere I read saying that it's like a net. It's like a net. These people who are trapeze artists, etc., right? They have a net below.
yes, Prabhu.
The
Yes, Prabhu.
net prevents them from dying, right? Even if they fall, they're not going to die. It just protects them. So Varnashrama protects people from falling down to lesser than
Yeah.
human species.
You, yes, Prabhu.
Right? And without that Varnashrama, we are just free to just, go crazily. We can take up any body. So Varnashrama was important. But of course, I mean, in today's Kali Yuga, getting back to traditional Varnashrama is difficult. That is why there's talk about Daivi Varnashrama. Daivi Varnashrama means basically it's centered around Krishna. The society is directly centered around Krishna, not around Vedic principles. It's centered around Krishna and gives devotees an opportunity to live a completely Krishna conscious life, not being beaten by city life. That is Daivi Varnashrama. And that Daivi Varnashrama actually Madhvas have actually lived that life. Actually, you see, wherever Madhva people are there, they're all together. They're all together. They live in a community. Of course, now because of so much of modern influence, of course, they also have to live in a more materialistic society. But previously, they used to always live together, Madhvas. That's their practice. So that is Daivi Varnashrama, which can help us to actually practice Krishna consciousness without uh, getting pulled down, dragged down by this material energy. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Very interesting questions.
And
Okay.
Prabhuji, if you
Yeah,
have
Mati.
time, or I can ask. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Prabhuji, the post you shared in that,
Which one?
the the post, a secondary effect of bhakti, I was
Ah,
stuck with the first line.
ah.
How can a devotee like enjoy, like this must be the neophyte level?
No, not neophyte. Yeah, I mean neophyte meaning that's what we've been discussing, right? So there is Mishra Bhakti and there is Shuddha Bhakti. Uh, See, okay. So devotees, people come to Krishna consciousness for different reasons, right? Artho, Artharthi, Jignasu, Gnani. So somebody who's coming to get material wealth, somebody who's coming to get over distress, or somebody is just coming without real intent to do bhakti, then they'll remain in the Mishra stage, and in the Mishra stage, they're happy to enjoy. Something is coming, and they're not really putting too much of effort for that, right? It's like I'm doing bhakti as a side effect, I'm got a lot of money, right? No, I might just continue to enjoy. As long unless we hear and we realize, oh no, this is like a it's like a trap. I'm going to get stuck here. Mm. Otherwise, one might just, oh, okay, I got money. Okay, let me go here, there, do this, do that. I'm also doing bhakti. It seems good, na? As in, what is the problem? Like, I'm doing bhakti. I'm also getting material facilities. I'm enjoying the material facilities. May not be grossly enjoying, right? May not be like, but still that tendency to enjoy is there. Okay, I have money. Let me buy this. Let me do that. Something. I'll go here, there. See, the basic point is that till we come to the realization that we are not here to enjoy. It's everything, whatever. If Krishna has given money, even that is for his pleasure, for his service. Till we come to that mode, it will result in we are okay to enjoy. As in, I'm saying, so devotees have to come to that stage of hearing and understanding, saying that okay, whatever facilities. That is why Rupa Goswami talks about Yukta Vairagya. Whatever Krishna has given, if I don't think about utilizing it for his pleasure, then there's high chance that I might just get stuck somewhere.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's a kind of a trap by Maya, na? Like if the
It's
devotee
not a trap.
surpasses this phase,
See, actually, what Krishna, like, see, if suppose say Krishna gives you a comfortable life, what is the problem? We can do bhakti nicely, no?
yeah, you don't stuck with that, but you
Yeah,
like
yeah, you just
progress in it.
utilize, yeah,
Yeah,
you just
that is,
utilize it. Like I said, he's given you money, great, use that
yeah.
money to have a comfortable whatever, you have food, you don't have to struggle for food. There are so many people due to their bad karma, etc. They've come into bhakti and, they don't have money to eat. They don't have food to eat, right? Now, if Krishna has given you that, then yeah, it's fine, eat, be comfortable, use the excess in Krishna's service. That's what we
Yes.
need to do. But if we don't realize this, then we remain stuck. And how is that one person will realize this, another person will not realize? It is based on their faith. This is called Mishra, mixed faith and pure faith. Those who have pure faith, saying that I just want to serve Krishna for his pleasure, maybe because of their previous life, maybe because of the kind of association they've got, etc., then they will be saved, right? I mean, it's much easier for them because they're not going to get stuck. But those who have not developed that pure faith and who remain with mixed faith will tend to enjoy just because, yeah, it's there, it's coming. So then over prolonged, after a long time, then pulling out will become difficult because now we got used to it. Right? That is why Mishra Bhakti is very, very dangerous. While it is okay initially, because it just, hooks somebody onto Bhakti, but, then coming to the actual path, becomes very difficult, becomes a big challenge. Because at some time you have to give up all this, no? So at that time it becomes a
Yes.
big challenge.
Like you see people doing bhakti and they are like attached to all their things. Like they are saying,
Yeah,
"हमें
yeah.
दिया है भगवान ने, हम enjoy करें," and they are doing their rounds and like
Correct,
इतना
correct. So they'll go
purity
to
नहीं है.
they'll go to
Come to
Swarga.
purity mode.
Yeah, they will
Okay.
go to Swarga. I mean, unless
Yes,
they
but
come in touch with pure devotee who can pull them out. Otherwise, yeah,
like
yeah. That is why this
detachment doesn't
danger.
develop. They don't develop detachment to their money, to their possessions. They are doing bhakti, but they are attached.
Correct, correct.
So
Yeah, yeah.
this could be
That
the
is
situation.
the point,
Mishra
right?
bhakti.
So that
Mhm.
lack of pure faith or lack of clear knowledge, understanding, saying that I'm not here to enjoy. Right, okay, Krishna is merciful, he's made my life comfortable so that I can do bhakti nicely. If that we don't see, uh, that is why I keep saying, fortunate are those people who have a lot of problems. They can never settle down. They can never become
Mhm.
complacent.
Mhm.
They can never get stuck. Because like sufferings are just putting us always on our toes, and we are just so, you know, super conscious about everything and trying to make progress. So we will not get stuck. Um, so the
Right.
complacency for comfortable life is dangerous.
Yes, Prabhuji. Mm.
Yeah, which is why our acharyas make statements which are like so deep. Prabhupada or previous acharyas, they just go into the psyche of we conditioned souls and exactly put it out for us, just so that we can
Prabhuji,
understand.
thoughts, how can we enjoy like sound, touch, form, this like
Way, I mean, like the
enjoyment, but
thought of first thing comes is thought only, no. I have the thought of enjoying sound, then I enjoy sound. Thought is like mind is the root, no, of all the sense. So enjoyment starts in the mind, only then it manifests in gross.
like here in this case, it could be they are enjoying kirtan because they won't enjoy material
No, it
like
could be
music. Like,
anything. It could be anything. I mean, see, first the thought arises, only then actual sense gratification happens. Right? First there is a thought to sense gratify, then the gratification happens. So thought, mind is the seat of all activities, no? Seat of
yes,
the chief sense. So thought is included. Even if it is not mentioned, it is included. That is why manmana bhava mad bhakto, no? That's why it's so difficult. If it was just like somehow we could have just, caught hold of her eyes and, stuck it on Krishna, without mind having any to play any role, it would have possibly been much easier. Right? It's just one mechanical object, but it's the mind which is actually pulling this out. Eyes are looking at Krishna, mind says, hey, why you're wasting time here? Hello, let's do something more interesting. Things like that.
yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Okay. Okay, fine. We're already at 9:30. We'll close here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyam patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam to
Dandavat.
everybody assembled.
Hare Krishna.